Good morning.
Morning.
What a week, huh?
Yes.
Just when you think things have settled down, life happens. And all we can do is be curious about it, right? Maybe we don't want to, maybe we don't want to turn on our TVs anymore, but you know you're going to. That's just part of being the curious human that you are. And so we want to embrace that curiosity, right? Because we can use that to our advantage. Life is filled with opportunities to be curious and to be in a state of wonder. And what that state of mind does for us is it helps us to take a little bit of a step back and go, I really don't know the answers. And that can be a relieving place to be. Even though we like to think we're right, and often do, being able to step back and be in a place of, maybe I don't know all the answers, takes a lot of responsibility off of us, right? Last week we talked about St. Francis's teaching of wearing life like a loose garment. Wearing life like a loose garment so that we're not attached to things. We can move more easily. We can move more smoothly through life because we're holding on just a little bit loosely. We're still doing our part. We're still engaged, but we're holding on to things just a little bit loosely. One of my best teachers for being curious about life is my daughter. She's spunky today. When she was little, she has these big blue eyes, and they were always wide open, and they were always looking, and her eyes were filled with wonder all the time. You could just see her processing, see her taking things in, and you knew her mind was really trying to figure out what it is that we're saying. And I'd be driving around with her in the car and showing her the stop sign, S-T-O-P, and she was learning her letters and learning what stop meant. And she would ask, well, what happens if you don't stop? Well, if there's another car there, we could get in an accident, if there's a police officer around, I could get a ticket. And then what happens? Well, if I get a ticket, I have to pay for it, and well, what if you don't pay for it? Then what happens? Well, then I would get more tickets, and maybe I would learn my lesson, but well, then what happens? Well, then I guess they could arrest me, and then what happens? Well, then I go to jail. It's like, you're 3. What are you asking me these questions? But she would do that over and over again, and it always ended with somebody going to jail. Kind of makes you really reconsider your decisions day to day, but it's no wonder she's going into pre-law soon. She came in that way. Another time we were at this gigantic play place in Kansas. It was like the McDonald's play areas on steroids. There were nets, there were slides, there were plastic tunnels, nets, and different things for kids to crawl around on like hamsters. It was awesome. So it was this gigantic warehouse filled with this stuff. So she's running around, she's about 3, she's running around, and she enrolled a couple kids to go with her, and there was this one slide that was really steep, and it was a tube slide, and it was kind of scary, kind of exhilarating. And so she went down it, and my mom and I were there, and we were kind of watching her and this other kid that was following her along, because she has that effect on people. And I heard her turn to him, we saw her turn to him and say, "Let's go do that again, quick, before I lose my not afraid." My mom and I looked at each other, it's like, that was brilliant. Quick, let's do it before I lose my not afraid. That is so awesome. And they did it. They went up and they did it again. And so much fun. So much fun. But being able to hold on loosely, she didn't spend a lot of time. You could tell she was thinking about it like, that was scary. But I want to do it again before I lose my not afraid. Being able to do it anyway, to go with it, to flow with it. Holding on to that sense of wonder allows us to, again, flow with life, but to hold things a little bit differently, maybe have a little bit different perspective than we would have otherwise. Earlier this week, and Let me preface this by saying that everyone I talk to about this advised me not to share what I'm about to share with you today. So hang on. So I'm driving home at night after work. It's dark. Apparently my eyes need to be checked. And I'm talking to my parents, on Bluetooth, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not doing anything, I'm driving along, I'm looking at something, and I'm like, is that a branch with leaves kind of blowing in the wind? It's not moving, and obviously I'm in my car, I'm getting closer and closer to it. All of a sudden, it starts moving. I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I run it over. It's a little possum. I ran over a possum this week. I'm in the car, I'm talking to my parents. I'm going, I just ran over a possum. I'm like so upset. I'm like, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe it. And it's like, part of my brain was really trying to think of, how can I undo that? How can I undo what I just did? But the other part of my brain is going, oh, come on, you can't undo that. So I'm expressing my upset to my parents, and I was like, I know, that's so hard, I'm so sorry, she was so sweet. So she's listening to me kind of go on and on about this, and finally she said, if it helps you feel any better, they're kind of mean. And so I'm in this like 3 shades of horror now. 1 by what just happened, 2 by how terrible my eyes are, and I had no idea, and 3 by my sweet little mother just saying to me what she just said. It's like, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, Mom? You're right. I'm driving, I kind of turn a little bit, I said, take that, you mean little varmint! Mom, you're right, I feel much better now. Just a little bit of perspective change. We were kind of laughing about that, putting humor into something that was a little horrific. See, that wasn't so bad, right? You were wrong, I can share that with you. So being able to hold things lightly, to wear things loosely, to step back from how we might judge something, also lets us kind of flow with it. It takes the responsibility off of ourselves, of having to fix things that we don't have any control over, like other people, or really slow possums in the road. No control over those kind of things. But there's something we can do. If there's something we can do, then that's what our responsibility is. And our responsibility is to stay open and to listen and to more and more incorporate that sense of wonder and curiosity, which opens us to our intuitive guidance, which is what we're here to do. To be in that flow of spirit, to be in that flow of life more and more and more. I met my meditation teacher, Jane Hart, when I was in my early 20s and had all the answers. And when I would push up, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? When I would push up against life and life would push up against me and it wasn't going according to my answers, I'd get upset about it. And I know you guys weren't like that when you were 22, but I was. And so I'd get mad, I'd feel like an injustice was done to me, I would get upset, cry, whatever, very emotionally reactive, right? And so she somehow noticed this about me and said, what if you say, when something like that happens, what if you say, wow, that's really interesting. That is just fascinating. I don't know what to say to that right now. I don't know what to do about that right now, but that is just really fascinating. Thank you. Okay, I'll give it a try, I don't know. I started working with that, I started practicing that. You know what? Everything was so much easier because I wasn't butting my head against it. And I could just kind of look at something without the judgment, without the right answer, and being able to step back and say, I don't know. Sounds interesting. So I worked with this over time, and a few years later, I was moving, and a couple who I had gotten close with over the years was at this going away party, and they came up to me and And the woman said, you know, we were just talking about you the other day and thinking about you and all that you've meant to us as our friends over the years. And I did a Lynn impersonation. I'm like, wow, that's kind of fun. I didn't even know there was anything about me to impersonate, you know? I'm just me, I don't know. She's like, yeah, it goes like this. That is really interesting. That is very interesting. I'm like, that's perfect, that's so me. And she said, yeah, and I talked to her this week and I was telling her I was going to be sharing the story. And she's like, yeah, but it was the head bobble. It's the little head bobble that did it. You know, yeah. So anyway, so it's kind of fun. So it's been this perspective that I've had for a long time that allows a space for whatever it is that's happening. It helps me take a step back and go, oh, this is interesting. What's mine to do? It's great as a therapist because there are all sorts of interesting things that come up when we're sharing our stories, right? When I work with my clients, I talk to them about this, like having that curiosity and wonder. And I call it Sherlocking, right? It's like, well, take that and just Sherlock it for a while. You've got this situation, you're learning about it, maybe you don't know what action step to take, or you don't know what to do, you don't know how to hold it, but you're reacting to it, so let's step back and just watch and see what happens. Just Sherlock it. One of the tools I use in my practice is called brain spotting. It's an awesome tool, processing, I mentioned it before. And one of the byproducts of using this tool in session is that it gives people practice, because it's a mindfulness-based process, so it gives people in-session practice of being able to just watch something that's difficult. Because we pick the topic, the stressful situation, and we check in with the body and see, okay, what are the emotions around this showing up in your body? Your stomach, throat, you know, wherever. It's different for everybody, it's different for every situation. So let's take those senses, and in brain spotting we find an eye position that makes those senses feel stronger. It's a party. It's a party. Let's take what is causing you angst and magnify it. It's great. It's great. My cards are in the hallway. But what happens is the experience of just being able to watch what's difficult does a lot of things. One, there's healing taking place because the body chemistry isn't reacting emotionally, right? So there's healing, there's calm. There are insights coming up, connections that are being made. And it's so true with any situation that's difficult. We just watch. I don't know what's mine to do every time. You don't know what's yours to do every time. Even when we think we like to, we think we know. But we watch, and what happens is with any situation, with any other human being, with anything that comes up as difficult, as we watch, we either watch it resolve on its own, or we're able to just let it go, or what comes to the forefront, what comes into our awareness is the action step that's ours to take. And so you see there are options. It's not just always action step, action step, action step. Sometimes we let it go, and that's our action step. Sometimes we have something that comes forward for us to do. And that openness, that sense of wonder, that sense of, in brain spotting, during a brain spotting session, the phrase that has been in my training to use is, be curious about that. Oh gosh, I can feel it in my chest is tightening. Notice that and be curious about it. It fits right in. I've been trained for years to do this. Be curious about that. What else shows up? What else shows up? So, I would like us to in our own way, take a situation that's causing stress or angst. You know what I mean by angst? It's not going my way feeling. I don't know what to do about this feeling. I'm just going to hold it. Because what happens as human beings, we are such fascinating characters. Because what happens is that our fear takes over, or our anger takes over, our grief around something takes over, and it sends us in a direction that is off our journey. It's not about not having feelings, it's not about not having emotion, but it's about being able to be curious about the emotion that comes up, because that's part of processing, and then step back from it and say, okay, what am I to do? Because our fear will tell us that, we're all going to jail, right? Our fear will misdirect us, misguide us. Our anger will misguide us. Our overwhelming sadness will misguide us. But when we are that observer self of our emotions that rise up, when we are in a space of curiosity around those feelings, then we're in charge. The emotion's not in charge, we are in charge. And we are able to have just enough distance from whatever's going on to listen. Okay, what's really mine to do here? What's really mine to do here? And if my head is swirling too much around it, I'll go take a walk. Because I'm not in curiosity and wonder, I am in figure it out. Do something about it, no matter what. So we take a step back. Just watch and listen. Listen to that ever-flowing spirit that is always moving in and through us, and our job is to go, oh, I have support here, I have help here, I don't have to do this by myself. Let me tap into it. But it's kind of like a really compassionate parent that says, okay, you go bang your head up against the wall enough times, then come back and ask for help and I'll help you. I'll help you. I'm here. So think of a situation, if you haven't already, that is causing some angst in your world. Just notice what kind of body sensations come up as you're thinking about it. And just watch. Notice the emotion. If you can name it, name what the emotions are, then that's good too. That's part of observing. And step into curiosity. Be Sherlock Holmes, where you're just watching, you're gathering the information, not making any decisions about it quite yet. Because you know there's more information to come. And invite it into that space within where that light, that wisdom is streaming forth. That infinite spirit is there in support and guidance. The beautiful thing about that curious space is that there's a lot of patience there. We don't have to get our answers right away. If we don't get them now, there's nothing for us to do. Except what we already know is ours to do. Taking care of our responsibilities for ourselves, for whomever we're responsible for. But if there's no action step coming forth, then we're okay. We wait, we listen. And we take that situation and we hold it with curiosity. Knowing that in this world is created, held together, sustained, moved forward by this infinite wisdom, by a greater plan than what we have access to. At least where we're at now, someday we'll know. Someday we'll understand. From a spiritual logic versus a human logic, we'll understand all these things that we go through. There's a plan. There's a beautiful plan for your life. There's a beautiful plan for our planet. And when those stressful situations come forward, bring to them your curiosity. I don't know what to do with this, God, but you do. Show me my part. Show me my part. And take that stressful situation right now and put it in a basket in your mind's eye. Turn it over to that light. Let it be carried away. I don't know what to do with this, but you do. Show me my part. For any stressful situation, for any goal you're trying to meet, you can place it in this basket and say, I don't know how to do this, but you do. Show me my part. Show me my part. That loving spirit is here for more reasons than to sustain nature that we enjoy and love. It's here to grow us, to wake us up. And our part in that is to use it. To turn to that light, that infinite presence, and say, help me. Help me with this. Our part is to notice our emotions and to do what we can to move one step away from them, just a little step away from them, enough to say, okay, I bring my curiosity to this. I don't know the answer, but you do. Show me, I will do my part. That's one of the most beautiful commitments we can make to ourselves. Wearing the garment of life loosely, but still wearing it, still engaging, still doing our part. So having released this situation into that light, maintaining that openness, that receptivity, that curiosity within, we go forth. And we say, thank you, God. Thank you for showing us our part. Thank you, God. And so it is.